Jingle bells, Batman smelt, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost the wheel, and the Joker got away. Crashing through the roof in a one-horse open tree. Busting out I go, laughing all the way.
Are you sure about that?
What is up, everybody? How you doing today? It's December, a time of love, peace on Earth, homicidal maniacs, and a giant bat-like creature ripping them a new one on Christmas Eve. Wait a minute. Today, I wanted to talk about the sort of black sheep of the Arkham series of games. Batman Arkham Origins. So let's suit up, beat on various criminals, solve mysteries, and deck the halls with bats and holly, and get into the question, just how good is Batman Arkham Origins?
Hi, Billy Mays here for the Steam Buddy.
Normally there would probably be a sponsorship here for various things such as Raycon or even a VPN service. But since I am me and probably not gonna be able to give you a sponsorship of some import, let's just get into the video. First things first, how does Origins present itself and immerse you, the player, into the talent of the Batman again? Well, like the last two games as Batman, you can duke, lurk, and sleuth just as well as before. The game world has also been expanded from Arkham City, though it is not as big as Arkham Knight's game world. It is still making it a larger and a bit more of a detailed Gotham to explore compared to Arkham City. Also, to coincide with the Christmas setting, the cityscape has been blanketed with snow, which is very detailed, I must say, and Christmas memorabilia and decorum is strewn around the entire game cityscape. There are some differences to the game this time around. Roger Craig Smith, who is voicing Sonic the Hedgehog these days, voices Batman for this game, and Troy Baker making, I think, his first voice acting debut as the Joker. And he does get better in later iterations. This is just his first time, and he tries a little too hard to be Mark Hamill. And they replaced the original roles voiced by Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. Though they're different, this is an origin story. So them sounding a little different and younger does make some sort of a sense. Since this game is also established to take place 2 years into Batman's career, despite the odd changes here and there, it still does feel like a proper addition to the Arkham series. Now, let's get into gameplay. So, did you like Asylum and City? Did you play Arkham City's Armored Edition? I didn't play Armored, but the other two?
Oh, hell yes.
I loved the free flow combat in Asylum and the ante-upped in Arkham City with all the different mechanics added. The Predator encounters, along with the inner workings of Batman's deduction and investigations, plus all the wonderful toys that you can use as him, made these games so good. But what is different or better in the third entry at this point of the Arkham games? Not much. WB Montreal, who also worked on Arkham City's Armored Edition, which has resulted in an almost one-to-one gameplay loop. with it being only slightly different than Arkham City. The best way I can describe it is Arkham City, but more aggressive enemies and a bit more janky. Enemies, like I said, are a bit more aggressive than in the previous iterations, and Batman feels a little off with at least the free flow combat. When you compare it to the Arkham City, it may just be me. It's just something that I noticed while playing the game. It's not a detractor, and I did get adjusted to it. It just felt off for about an hour of the game. The Predator encounters are still as fun as before, and they're still pretty well polished, and the gadgets still work pretty well. And obviously the takedowns being as satisfying as ever. The gadgets are roughly the same as well, or have slight cosmetic differences. If I recall correctly, the only new gadgets are Deathstroke's Remote Claw, which functions similar to another gadget you get in Arkham City, and the Electrocutioner's Shock Gloves, which apparently the same mechanic appeared in Armored Edition, but the other gadgets, almost the exact loadout from the previous games. It's kind of a letdown, but if it works, why fix it? There's also the new crime scene reconstruction mechanic, which did show up later in Arkham Knight again. This edition was a very neat thing that Origins added, which is still really cool to this day. Now, I think I covered most of the gameplay, since it's almost the exact same gameplay as Arkham City. I can't really add much to it. Let's move on to the main story.
A shortcut to the chum bucket. That must be for me. This isn't the chum bucket.
Origins begins with establishing that Bruce Wayne has returned from his training to become the vigilante Batman after about 2 years. And like I stated earlier, the game takes place on Christmas Eve and follows into Christmas evening. But rather than a relaxing evening, Batman goes to Blackgate Penitentiary to rescue Commissioner Loeb. After failing to save the Commissioner from Black Mask, the seemingly primary antagonist, Batman comes face to face with a more humanoid Killer Croc. And once Batman defeats Killer Croc, he finds out that there are other assassins working for Black Mask for a massive bounty of $50 million. After evading Jim Gordon and securing Killer Croc, Batman makes his way to the Batcave, where we find out the gallery for the evening of the various assassins, and that the primary objective is to stop Black Mask. Now it's time to track a fancy bird. A penguin. And we get to use the Batwing to fast travel. Okay. And apparently there's a jamming signal active, and we're introduced to a very cool mechanic, the crime scene reconstruction. This also introduces the Riddler, going by Enigma, for the radio tower side quests. Now, we are introduced to the actual open world concept of Arkham Origins. Now, like I said, it is not as big as Arkham Knight, where you get to explore all of Gotham City and have a very well-made reconstruction. But for the time, it is much bigger than Arkham City and has more attention to detail with more places to explore. After infiltrating the final offer, which is the Penguin ship, Batman faces off with the Electrocutioner. He one-hits him, kind of a letdown, and after making through the ship, Batman finally finds Penguin. After some persuasion and punching, we get to probably the best boss battle in the game, which starts with Deathstroke. And yes, this is possibly the best boss fight. As you leave the ship, Anarchy is also introduced, another side quest, who is not important to the plot. Now, the plot thickens, with Black Mask supposedly being dead. After tapping GCPD communications, it's time to investigate. The police believe it's the Penguin, but it looks like it was the Joker behind it again, who took out Black Mask and his girlfriend, or one of them, days prior to the start of the game. After returning to the Batcave for the concussion detonator, which is a kind of gimmicky gadget, you don't really use it at all, it's time for Batman to get into the GCPD database servers to corroborate all the evidence that he was able to find.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
After taking out the rooftop guards, it's time to find out what the GCPD knows. And after taking out a lot of GCPD, Batman finds a destructor device, which is also a very familiar gadget from Arkham City, deal with a prison riot. Yay! After that's taken care of, and we make way to the server room again, you meet Barbara Gordon here, who shows extensive knowledge of what Batman's doing when he's hacking into the servers, doing so before cops interrupt and Batman must vanish like a bat and beat up more cops. Yes, seriously. A brief meet-up with Gordon, which is a knockout.
Boo! You stink!
You make it to the roof again, and Barbara is able to even hack into Batman's comm signals for another side quest. But for now, Batman must go to the sewers.
Pizza time.
After making way to the sewers, Black Mask has an apparent presence there. As Batman cuts through to the GCPD telecom, it appears that Black Mask is planting bombs everywhere. And I mean a lot. And explosive Christmas for all. And with the database, Batman puts together what happened at Sionis' safe house. And that the perp is Joker, using Black Mask's identity to pull off his heist. After leaving the sewers, the Mad Hatter enters the ring with another side quest.
Oh, this?
And the answer is total surprise!
Now knowing Joker's plan to raid a bank, Batman must move to stop it, and the bell tolls for Christmas during this time. Luckily, Batman intercepts Black Mask, who turns out to be Joker, assuming the identity of Black Mask, obviously, who took over his operations. I'm not disappointed it's Joker, I'm just... During this point of time, Joker and Batman's dynamic was a little overused, so it was kind of a letdown with the setup up to this point. After playing Possum, it's time to go to Sionis' steel mill to stop Joker's plan to take out Sionis permanently. But even after getting into the mill, something strange is going on in the mill. Like, a thug is poisoned, and that Sionis has a drug business beneath the mill. After saving Sionis, Batman also gets poisoned by another assassin by Copperhead, which results in another boss fight. It starts with a psychological trip with Batman's failures weighing on him, Alfred expressing disappointment leading with him, all leading up to a traditional boss fight. And because it's Batman, he already gets a cure during the boss fight. And before you leave, you get another side quest added. Yay. Now it also seems that everyone, at least of the assassins, aside from Shiva and Deadshot, those two are in side quests and aren't even relevant to the main story. You can completely skip them, by the way. They're all meeting in one place, perfect for Batman to intercept. Eventually, Batman does get past some crooked cops and Joker's men into the Gotham Royal Motel. Oh, I'm sorry, Hotel, to stop Joker's plans. And Joker yeets Electrocutioner, such a disappointing villain, and another assassin down. Okay. After pillaging his gloves, nice, it's time to continue. Eventually, Batman needs to cut through Joker's sleigh ride contraption, which is very extensive for what he is able to cobble together into this hotel. After navigating through the hotel, finally the Joker is seemingly cornered, along with a lot of bombs. Instead of being able to disarm them, they end up blowing up early, which eventually leads up to finally confronting Joker again, although it is postponed, with Bane wanting to do a boss fight with him. Although it's an automatic lose scenario with Batman narrowly saved from Bane by police being called in thanks to Alfred, it ends with Joker being blown off the roof and Batman skydiving to save him. Batman gets away, and Joker goes to Blackgate, where we're treated to Joker's brain, with Harleen Quinzel even seeing his backstory. And Joker is even playable for a little bit, with it all leading to how he views Batman and how he changed everything for him. But of course, because of how vague he's being, Harleen believes Joker is talking about her.
It's time to do.
Upon returning to the Batcave, Joker's words ring in Batman's mind, which reminds him of his parents again. But with Bane still out there, and also Firefly, there's no time to rest still, and a new gadget is called the Glue Grenade, which is pretty much the freeze grenade from Arkham City, being added to the arsenal. Alfred also voices his extreme concern over Bruce's well-being, which goes over very well.
Right.
Eventually, Batman returns to the GCPD again for a supposed body thought to be Bane in their custody, which obviously needs to be investigated. It turns out it isn't Bane, but is one of his henchmen. With Batman even finding out about the Venom drug more in depth. Then the Bane tracker that Batman planted on him pulls up and has a signal. Everything seems to be working out.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Batman eventually breaks into Bane's HQ, but also finds out that he'd been tracking Batman and found out that Batman and Bruce Wayne are one and the same. But before that can be thought of any further, Firefly is attacking, not knowing that the Joker is behind bars and that the bounty is no longer up for grabs. So now Batman needs to deal with Firefly, but not without warning Gordon about Firefly's bombs. First, more bombs. After disabling the third bomb, it's off to the last one, which also having a boss fight with Firefly happening. Luckily, the final bomb was disabled by Gordon while you were fighting with Firefly. After defeating Firefly, Batman and Gordon also get some common ground between them. But while dealing with that, Bane was able to invade the Batcave and seemingly fatally injures Alfred. But luckily, the shock gloves bring him back to life. Somehow. While doing that, the Joker was able to escape and terrorizes the Blackgate prison that he's in, and is able to completely warp it to his liking in only the span of a couple hours. After what happened to Alfred, Bruce feels he shouldn't go and can't really do anything to help. But Alfred reassures him, and he's able to get back to where everything started for that evening.
Not on your own, but it's high time you realize that you are a man, not an island. And a man's strength comes not from just brawn and intelligence, but also from his allies. They need you.
No. They need us.
Now it's time to stop the Joker again and save Christmas. After getting in through electrified sewers, Batman breaking pipeworks, not a plumber apparently, Batman frees Harleen and proceeds to where Joker is. You even can have small talk with Deathstroke. After cutting tough wave after tough wave of thuds, Batman finally is able to confront Joker again, with a surprise guest. Turns out Bane is back with a certain condition. He now has a heart monitor, and Batman must kill him, or endgame him, so that Joker isn't electrified from what it seems like. And the second Bane boss battle begins. Gordon also pops in to try and stop Joker's plot while Batman struggles against Bane till he activates the shock gloves. With them, Batman stops Bane's heart in order to stop Joker's electrical plot. But also with them, he's able to revive Bane for the third and, I believe, final boss battle with him. Using a prototype Titan formula called TN1, Bane becomes similar to the actual Titan iterations in the previous Arkham games. Yay. It involves using stealth mechanics and shocking Bane with the electrical gates or ramming him into walls in order to finally shock him unconscious with generators after Batman gets thrown through a wall. What are you gonna do? Now, it's time to deal with Joker. Batman even fights with Gordon, not actually them fighting each other, but fighting thugs together for a little bit before eventually confronting Joker in the prison chapel. After a very cinematic beatdown, and with it foreshadowing the later years with Joker's madness and Batman's efforts to thwart him. You even get an inspiring speech from Gordon and a post-credit tease of Deathstroke joining Amanda Waller's suicide. Now, before I started really recording for this video, I was debating on whether to cover the campaign with some of the side quests or cover the entirety of the campaign and side quests, or just cover the main campaign. But in the end, I decided to mostly cover the main campaign. With that in mind, what do I think of Arkham Origins at the end of the day? Is it as good as Asylum or City?
No!
It's still a decent addition to the Arkham games itself. And that's not the Blackgate spin-off. The Blackgate spin-off is an oddity for the Batman games. And since it also goes on sale a lot, and is still a pretty good game, I definitely recommend picking it up at some point. There's even DLC stories that I didn't even cover that expand more of the game lores. Like, Cold Heart, which has more of a focus on Mr. Freeze. And then there's also Initiation, which are challenge maps with some story that focus on Bruce Wayne's martial arts training before he started being Batman. But if anything I've talked about has piqued your interests, I'd say get it on PC. It's the most accessible version and is much better for its performance. But with that, Batman